Hello, hiya, and greetings. Welcome to Aimless Adventure's weekly guild meeting, which is a YouTube exclusive. Don't forget to subscribe and like us, and maybe share us on YouTube, share us with your friends, because we're a bunch of goofy fucks, and
everybody knows somebody that is into goofy fucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Goofy fucks are actually pretty cool.
Yeah. We established a guild meeting to kind of be able to go about our business and talk about aimless discussion topics that maybe we didn't get time to discuss, and also to provide like top 10 lists and stuff of different categories and genres.
Nerds like lists.
Nerds like lists, because they like to argue about shit.
Yep.
That they have no control over.
Which is funny. So this week we're doing our top 5 or our top 10 science fiction movies. And originally what we were going to do was a top 5 list where everybody read their own top 5 list, but what I thought might be fun is I take everybody's top 10 to 15 movies and I score their lists, and then I figure out how many people voted for each particular thing, and then that determines their final score after an average of the total score. It's very complicated. Yeah. It's patent pending. Don't rip my shit off. But anyway, so based on that, we came up with a top 10 list. Aimless Adventures, top 10.
Science, like the Moneyball algorithm.
Yeah. Aimless Adventures, top 10 science fiction movies list. And then we'll go in and talk about maybe what shouldn't be on that list, and maybe what should have been, and so on and so forth. Okay.
Cool.
So are we ready?
Yes.
Yes.
More or less.
So based on the Aimless Adventure patented top lists algorithm, number 10 with 10.5 points is The Martian.
Awesome.
Okay.
Wasn't on my list.
Just to recap, The Martian was on 3 of our lists.
Okay.
I actually had it as a Ray. I had it as a honorable mention, but I think it got bumped off due to I can't remember, but yeah,
I haven't seen.
It was on my first draft, but good movie.
I feel like this is a good one on the list. It's something more modern, and I understand it's still in theaters technically. Mm-hmm. And some people have a tendency to like, hey, that's my favorite thing of all time, just because it's brand new. Right. I think that this movie will stand the test of time.
I dig it because of the science of it. I mean, it was a realistic sci-fi movie.
That was actually lower on my list than I could have put it.
Me too.
But because it was so new, I dropped it down because I haven't watched it twice, 20 times. I don't know if it's going to be rewatchable.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like Gravity should be up there with it.
Right.
We have had some really cool what's called hard science fiction. Hard science fiction is based on the reality of what we could actually do. We've had some great
rooted in it.
Yes, hard science fiction.
Yeah, I mean, you get any astrophysicist, they're going to pick those movies apart.
Yeah,
but I mean,
and they do.
to the layman, I mean, that's real shit right there.
Was that a documentary? Did that happen?
Yeah, so there's actually suckers out there.
Somebody's going after that guy, right?
Somebody put up a fucking what is it? The pay thing where people donate money.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, they're like, save Matt Damon from Mars.
Matt Damon home.
Did somebody really do that? That's hilarious. So we've had some great hard science fiction. I think we should mention it. Just in the last 2 years, we've had The Martian, we've had Gravity, and we've had Interstellar.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They're all super great.
I haven't seen any of them.
What? I haven't seen Interstellar yet because I haven't. So here's
that was like we had talked in the previous podcast where the wormhole theory of space travel. Mm-hmm. Brilliant. I love how they did that.
So here's how going to see movies works for Amanda and I. She puts on limitations and restrictions, and then ultimately, just like she does on the television, picks what we're going to watch.
Yeah, making all the previous BS.
So, and sometimes I win though, right? So. Like, she's like, I don't want to see The Martian. It's going to be sad and depressing and this and that. And she said the same shit about Interstellar. And I still haven't seen Interstellar. And I want to see it so bad. But we go and, I basically force her to see this movie. I'm like, no, this is... Remember when we went to go see Resident Evil?
Yes.
And we got there and she's like, I want to see Walk in the Clouds or whatever the fuck it was. And we're like,
fuck.
No, we came here to see Resident Evil. So it was kind of the same situation. I was like, all right, we're going to watch The Martian. So we go and see it, and we're both just floored by that movie. So yeah, that's how it usually works for me. So I want to see Interstellar. I know she'd probably love it, but I'll probably have to watch it on my phone or something when it comes to Netflix.
How long ago did that come out?
That was about a
year
year
or
and
two?
a half ago.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
maybe not even that far long ago.
Okay.
A year?
I think it was
Maybe.
about a
Ballpark
year.
of a year?
Yeah,
Just because it's in that genre of realistic sci-fi, but there's a good family values story at the core of it. You know, just a guy trying to save his daughter's life, basically.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Hoov, have you seen The Martian?
No, I've heard from everybody that's really excited about it, and I want to go see it. And, when I know that there's movies that I'm not going to go in the theater and be able to see, I Wikipedia it, so I know what happens. And that's the problem. I'll go.
Cheater!
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
being real.
so if I can't go see it and I'm dying to know what happens, I'm going to want to know.
What about Interstellar?
But,
Have you seen that one?
No. But I've read about them and all that kind of stuff with The Martian. Still super, super, super pumped to see it. And from what I read about it, and I really don't want to say how I would describe it, like the feelings I had, but probably some of the feelings people had when they came, only because it's still in the theaters, and maybe some of our viewers out there that haven't seen it yet. But I'm still very much looking forward to seeing this movie.
Yep, still number one in the theater. So we're
Is
gonna
it really?
It is. Yep, it was
Good
number one last
Lord.
weekend. Still,
Awesome.
with
The
everything
Martian?
else. Yeah, with everything else that's come
Wow.
out, The Martian is still number one.
Wow.
So, wait. Did Martian beat out James Bond this weekend?
If James Bond was released last weekend, it certainly did because it was number one in the box office last weekend.
Yeah, they just
last
released.
The
Bond
31st.
Oh,
This past
a
weekend.
couple days ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple of days ago. Yeah, exactly. So
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, the reports were it was still number one. So our number 9 with 3 votes and 11.01 points total.
11.01.
Yep. Well, because we did
We're down to the hundreds.
Yeah.
11.01 points. Total Recall.
Nice.
Okay.
If that had 3 votes and the last one had 3 votes, how is its score different?
Because
There's the point one, Ryan. The point one, Ryan.
it's where it's placed on the list.
That's right.
So the total points from where it placed on the list,
That's right.
averaged,
Cool.
times the number of people who voted for it.
What gave it that?
Now you
100th of
just
a
gave
point?
it away. Now you can't.
Because average
make any
it. Well,
money
there's
off it.
3 votes, right? So, averages. And,
okay.
Yeah. Probably somebody had it on their list, but it was like a 0.5.
I just want Hoov.
Actually, I think it was a 0.5 on my list. So,
I want Hoov to say one thing about Total Recall. He knows what it is. Please.
Oh man, you know what? I'll tell you what. I don't want to bog the show down with a long story, but when Cassandra and I started dating, there were 2 movies that were our favorites that we'd watch over and over again. One of them being A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, because we thought it was hilarious, and the second being Total Recall. And we loved it because
Glue
and
that
Ryan, you're at
together.
yeah. So between Freddy Krueger and Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's picture graders. But there was a line. I think what Ryan's getting to is and one thing that Cassandra and I would always laugh about. There had a few, but it's great to see Arnold Schwarzenegger when he's being very dramatic and emphasize what's got his stage. Give these people AF.
Yes. That's what I want to give these And
baby, you make me wish I had 3 hands.
yeah, there's many, but
no shit.
I mean, he's trying, to be dramatic and have some gravitas, and it comes out hilarious and awesome because it's
Every time.
Arnold,
Well, see, you know what?
They're suffocating, and you're just like, he said, "Eh."
You know what, dude? That's not the line that Cassandra and I enjoy the most.
2
It's
weeks.
when it has the elevator battle with Michael Ironside's the actor's name, I believe.
That's right.
And he's holding on to him, and the elevator chops the guy's arms off. He goes, "I'll see you at the top, Richter."
How about get your ass to Mars?
Slightly off
There's
subject, but
good stuff. There's too much good stuff.
There
The
it
cab
is.
driver.
Get ready for a
Quattro.
surprise!
yeah, this is off subject to hair, but to make
And you know what's
Who feel
funky
better.
about that? I didn't vote for that.
Okay. Helen and I's movie. the Final Destination series, and our song is "New Booty" by Bubba Sparks. So
Oh yeah.
it doesn't have to be
Miss
romantic
Nobody.
stuff.
There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah.
I remember when it was your ringtone, when hell would
Yeah.
call your old phone, and it would start playing that song.
Right?
So, is everybody
College Park.
ready for number 8?
Yep.
Yeah.
Lay it on me.
This is the one that I disagree with.
Ooh.
It has 2 votes, but both of those votes had relatively high positions in their top 10 lists.
Uh-oh.
Galaxy Quest.
Love that movie.
I like that movie.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's a good
Galaxy
movie.
Quest. Refresh
Yeah.
my memory.
It's that
Tim
Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver,
Oh, the
Tony
spoof
Shalhoub.
movie.
Yeah.
the spoof movie. I know. It hurts.
Nobody said it had to be serious movies.
No, nobody did.
That's a
And
good movie.
It
man.
fits the parameter, and it's so good.
It's
It
great
is.
that you two love it. It's not. It is
You know,
nowhere. It's not on my
It
top
wasn't
50.
on my list because I forgot. But that's a good flick. I enjoy watching it.
I don't have a comedy in any of mine. I don't think.
I don't think I do.
Oh,
I think
that's just a solid
sneaks in there on
movie,
a
man.
technicality. I feel you on that one. I mean, it does fit the.
It's a science fiction
the
movie.
base description.
Oh,
of
sure.
Science
It's
fiction.
about science fiction movies.
Yeah.
And TV series is.
It's not the worst offender that if it had made it on
It's
this list, I
entertaining,
would have
dude. It's
been upset. But
it's good. And Sigourney
what-
was just
let's face it.
Rhyme.
hot in that
Rhyme,
movie.
yes.
It has an amazing cult following.
Yeah.
I mean, that is one of those movies that is literally considered a cult classic.
Sure.
The beauty of it was the one guy when they crash land into the convention.
Yeah.
And they're coming out and they're like random.
Yeah.
Guy.
Yeah, he was
And
supposed
he's
to
just
die.
kinda like
Yeah.
Waving to the crowd.
He was a red shirt. Yeah, and the aliens. And Jane Doe, because she decided to say it, and she's on the show just as Jane Doe.
My favorite guy in that movie is the guy that's my favorite in every movie that he's ever in. The guy who plays Snape.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Alan
And-
Rickman.
Yeah, and from like Dogma and stuff. His like just total deadpan seriousness
His
is
disdain for the
disdain.
popularity of this fucking show.
Yeah.
He was,
Yeah, he was.
Not this show. He loves this show.
no, yeah.
No, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Adam Rickman.
He was
total
the
listener.
Die Hard villain.
the Obi-Wan Kenobi character is basically who he
Yeah.
was portraying. Was
Okay.
the guy that played Obi-Wan Kenobi grew to hate Star Wars because he was tried to be a serious
Sir
English
Alec
actor.
Guinness.
Yeah,
Alec Guinness.
and
That's Alec Guinness, yeah. But see, you know what? This is why I like that so much because, Josh, you said it perfectly. Like the movie itself has a cult following because the movie is about a cult following.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
it's,
yeah,
It
it's
is.
true.
it's the essence of Star Wars fans.
And Trekkies.
Believing so much. And Star Wars, Star Trek fans. I think it gears more. I believe it gears more towards Star Trek than
Oh, for
anything.
sure.
yeah, like, 'cause it-
But
in the movie
you
it's
have.
about- right?
Yes.
You have Justin Long's character that knows the
yeah.
schematic,
I was in that.
That's right.
shit. And to me, it was kind of like a fanboy's dream come true. To where, like, what if this really did happen?
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
that's
I
pretty
get
cool.
it. I think that it is also indicative of that humor that's become popular since the internet, and that's that meta humor. So it's a show about a show,
Right.
just sort of that meta layer.
Yeah.
So I think it's sort of indicative of that. I think it's one of the first movies I can think of that really demonstrated like meta humor, like meta
Yeah.
knowledge. So, yeah, I mean, it's fine. Does anybody else have anything to say about Galaxy Quest?
Nope.
Not.
But I do want to say one thing about it. It also shows that the passion of the fans. Even when the show may be on its, even after the show may have jumped the shark, quote unquote, or is kind of running its course or whatever. There's so many shows that we've grown up and watched we want more of. And I think that, Star Trek always, like you said, a great word earlier, Josh, indicative of we want more Star Trek. I wouldn't mind seeing more Quantum Leap. There's certain things that you see, you attach to, and you're like, oh, I would just love to see that universe expanded more. And Galaxy Quest had a very funny take on it. And also, to me, when it got real, a pretty heart-rendering take on it.
All right, so number 7, with appearing on 3 people's lists, with 12.99 points,
Cool.
the seminal classic, Blade Runner.
Okay.
Damn, didn't even have
Yeah.
that one either.
Yeah, I didn't have it on my list either. It's, it's a classic and everything, but I don't know. I've seen it a lot of times.
I've seen it a shit ton. I mean, it's been sort of copied and remade to death. But there is nothing greater than the original, and you're still talking about Harrison Ford in his prime. So,
Yeah. And I really like cyberpunk, as a theme and everything, but it's, I don't know, it just didn't make it on my list by probably 2 or 3.
So was he or wasn't he?
I haven't seen it in a long time. I'd have to rewatch it.
Remember at the end, there's kind of the question.
Talking about the replicant
yeah,
thing.
is he a replicant or is he not?
One thing I do know about that movie is the gun, his signature gun, is in the Fallout games. As kind of a nod to the Blade Runner franchise.
Nice.
Little Easter egg there.
Random facts.
Yeah, I have a question about that. Ridley Scott directed that movie, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen. I've seen like bits and pieces of Blade Runner, so it's not fair to me to comment on it. But there's probably 2 or 3 other Ridley Scott movies I'd put ahead of that. That's my comment.
Yeah, I found my list was dominated by James Cameron for some reason, but we'll get into that.
No sci-fi.
Yeah, and like I'm not even talking like Avatar. I'm talking other stuff. But
I know.
and he's on this list.
Yeah,
he's represented in this list. So, number 6 with it appeared on 2 people's charts, just 0.01 above Blade Runner at 13 points. The Fifth Element.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
I'm sorry. What was it?
The Fifth Element.
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, that's one of me and my wife's favorites.
That's one of those movies I thought was okay.
I
know a lot of people that were really big into it, but
Yeah.
I just thought it was okay.
I'm with you. For me, it was just like okay, what is this, like some sort of weird, darker version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? It never really made sense to me or whatever. So it was never. I mean, yeah, Mia Jovovich and Damn Near Naked, that was great, but
And she's not. I don't know. I don't see her as being that hot, so that didn't really affect me. And the science of it was all pretty corny.
it was
In my eyes, I mean, just everything, the cars, the cigarette, with the filter this long and tobacco that long, and I mean, it's just, I don't know, it wasn't.
And for me, there's still something weird about Bruce Willis in a science fiction movie.
Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't feel like right.
he's not kind of the guy that I feel he's more like our time and our presence, not a space guy and not he's sciencey.
He's always been really grounded. He's always been
Right.
very action oriented, and even sometimes
Who did have it on there?
That's all he
Serious.
did in the movie.
the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like that
Well, no,
science.
I don't think it was in my. Was it in my top 5?
yeah, it
think so.
was.
Is it mine?
It might have been.
Had to
No,
be
it was.
somebody's.
I'm pretty sure. It's it was my number 2.
It was on two.
Number 2.
Yeah.
It was on 2 people's list, and it was pretty high up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, Josh, can I ask something here?
Sure.
During that movie, Fifth Element, made it on the top 10. I can tell you between Cassandra and I, when we're watching, it's one of her favorites. The only part that we really both like is Chris Tucker. And
Ruby
now
Rod!
right. And now it's making me really regret, now that I'm really thinking about it, if we'll get a chance to talk about the list overall, a movie that I left off, and I'll save that for later. But, yeah, I mean, I'm with Ryan on that. Like, I bought, as much as you can buy Bruce Willis as an astronaut in Armageddon.
Yeah.
But to me, I felt they could have went younger with that part. Somebody new could have got a shot in that role.
I think Bruce Willis worked in Armageddon because he was grounded to
Yeah.
being a roughneck.
Regular guy almost.
He was a roughneck.
He was a
driller.
roughneck, so he was grounded there. I think he worked in Unbreakable because he was grounded to being a football star,
Right.
Right.
right? But just being some
Another
science
good movie.
fiction taxi driver was a little strange to me.
It was a little comedic.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
It wasn't like-
as far
it
as
wasn't
the element,
comedy, but it had a lot of funny stuff to it.
Yeah.
To where, I don't know, just for me, like when I think science fiction, I don't think comedy. I don't.
And Chris Tucker looks like
I do, I mean, but as far as I was concerned, it took me, I guess I'm an idiot or whatever, but it took me a little bit, probably the second viewing of it to get what was going on. It's kind of like, they kind of tried to encapsulate everything into one shot. And any time that, Zeus is the fucking president in a movie, I'm kind of like, okay.
Debo.
It reminds me of Idiocracy where Terry Crews is the president, you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
What you got on my world peace, homie?
Is what the plants crave.
So it was sort of a weird pick, but
For me, and I'm sure Charity as well, it was like someone had a fleshed out, futuristic, sci-fi, almost fantasy type world fleshed out in their head, and that movie was kind of just peering into it a little bit, and I thought the effects were insane for the time that it came out. It's 95, 96,
somewhere in there.
Aged, yeah.
and it still looks sharp
It still
to this
does look
day.
good.
It's a great movie to watch
but
on
I
Blu-ray.
think I think you're onto something. I think that if there were sequels to that movie, and
Yeah, that's what I always enjoyed about it. Was I like to kind of imagine what around that window that you got to peer into, how far that universe goes, and
if they'd fleshed it out a little more with like sequels or something, maybe it would have been something I would
with
have
Hollywood
even thought about.
reaching
But
into the 80s and 90s as much as they do, I would love to see. And Luc Besson did a really
The sixth
good
element.
job. I love the soundtrack. I still have the CD. It's got a really great set of music to it. And the first thing Cherry and I did when we got an HD TV was we got it on Blu-ray and watched. That was the first thing we watched on our HD TV back in like 07.
It's not what I would have expected you to watch, but
Right.
that's
No, I watched golf later.
okay.
all right, so on to number 5.
That was number 6.
5.
That was number 6. On to number 5, with 2 votes and 14 points total. Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, still, I'm
And
missing.
again-
You haven't hit one of mine yet.
It didn't pop
it's-
on my list either.
A bad movie.
Number 1 on my list.
Are you
And-
serious?
I love that movie.
Oh,
Yeah, it's on
man.
my list too, and I can watch it any fucking time.
Oh, I mean, I loved it when I was a teenager, like co-ed fucking showers. I'm like, hey, where do I sign
and
up?
what's funny, behind the camera, German director RoboCop, Paul Verhoeven. He was naked too. Yeah, it was the only way all the actors agreed to do that co-ed shower scene. Is like, okay, well, you and the camera crew got to be naked too, because otherwise it'll feel weird. So
They all got
that's how
naked.
it got
Hey,
done.
campy.
Sausage
that's,
party.
That's another one that made the list just because it was rated so high on
Right.
2 people's lists.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Well, it was on mine, but I wasn't
my
that high.
favorite part of that movie, and probably one of the reasons why I like it so much, is Neil Patrick Harris's character in that.
Yeah.
He's
I
funny.
just love his character.
Yeah.
And the fact that it wasn't bombs, it wasn't guns, it was a smart guy
staff
that
sergeant.
figured something out. And
I don't even remember how that movie went. I just remember them never-ending stream of bugs coming at them
man,
and then
arachnids.
shooting the shit out of them.
Yeah, that was at the Mormon Fort.
You know what I think about that movie? Is wow, what a great first-person shooter video game that would make.
And there was never a decent Starship Troopers game. There was
Nope.
one.
Yeah,
made-
there was. It's called StarCraft.
Yeah. Remember that map on BattleNet? Remember how fucking
thought it might have
popular
been
that
Halo.
was?
No,
There was a
Zerg.
custom
Zerg.
map.
really?
Yeah.
Real quick, guys. Okay.
They're arachnids,
Just add my-
straight up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Just
that-
add my comments on Starship Troopers. I thought about it earlier, and I can analogize Starship Troopers with 4th of July. As far as it's fun to watch all these big bright things go off and make a lot of noise, but it doesn't stand the test of time. It doesn't last after, the Big Bang. Starship Troopers, I have it. I own it. It's in my DVD collection. But I consider it probably the most expensive B movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, there you
it
go.
was
There you go.
expensive.
No, I agree with that. So, moving on to number 4.
Aw.
This is one that made the list because it was on 4 out of 6 lists, 7 lists.
Wow.
iRobot, 16.5
Nice.
points.
Good damn movie.
My wife, as I was making my list, my wife brought that one up, and it was not on my list, but it is a good movie.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Yeah,
I love Will
it's-
Smith in pretty much anything.
Right.
Right.
And that one was really good because he does serious really well, but he still has to throw Will Smith in there,
Right.
and he
A little bit of Fresh Prince comes out every once in a
Right.
while.
Well, and it's based on hard science fiction by
Heinlein. No, Heinlein was Starship Troopers. Laser robotics guy.
Yeah.
Isaac Asimov.
Isaac
Isaac
Asimov.
Asimov.
Yeah, Isaac Asimov. So
Yeah.
it's grounded in
It is.
science fiction canon. It's one part. It's not even a whole book by itself. It's just
Yeah.
one part of one book. So like I it wasn't on my list, but I respect that movie. And when I saw people put it on their list, I was like, oh shit, I didn't even think
Kind
about
of
that.
forgot about that one.
Yeah, and the thing that drives me nuts about that movie, which almost made me not see it.
Shia LaBeouf.
Nope, they had a viral marketing campaign. Does anybody remember this?
I don't.
They created a website and they actually got news companies to link articles to their viral marketing site that was about how they'd finally figured out how to develop a neural network and make actual androids. And I fucking fell for that shit hook, line, and sinker.
Oh man.
I swear to God, I fell for it. And it's one of the few things I've ever fallen for. And it was kind of early in the viral marketing
Yeah.
thing. And
Before that, you really all you had was Blair Witch.
Yeah.
As far as viral.
when I found out what was actually going on, I was a little bit pissed.
Yeah, I would have been too.
Because I thought that finally we were going to get to an age of like robots and stuff. You know, I was like super stoked for
Sexy
it. and pumped.
robots.
You know, I was like 21, 22, whatever age I was. And yeah.
No, you were like 29, man.
So, anybody else have anything to say about iRobot?
I do.
do.
My brother Jeremy got me that on DVD one year for Christmas, and I didn't ask for it or anything like that. He just got it for me, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, man, iRobot?" He's like, "Yeah, dude. You're a fucking nerd. I thought you'd like it."
Wow.
All right.
Hell of an endorsement from your
Wow.
brother there.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I thought that was going to be one of the movies I'd catch a little shit for putting on the list. So I think it's really cool that
It's
I assumed
solid.
everybody kind of dismissed that movie, and
No, it wasn't on my personal list, but solid choice. I'm not disappointed with it being on the top 5 list or top 10 list.
I must.
I'm a little surprised it made the list.
You're what, Hoof?
I'm a little surprised it made the list.
Yeah, I mean, it had force of numbers behind it. It had 4 people that voted for it. So,
It's a good movie. Not knocking the movie. It's a good movie. I'm just surprised it made the top 10.
yeah, there's only one other movie that had more than 4 people vote for it.
And I
Wow.
think we all know what that.
I think we all know
Yeah.
where that's going.
I think we know what number one's going to be.
Yep, I think we do.
Right.
Michael Bay's Transformers.
Yeah. God damn.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so number 3.
Specifically, The Dark of the Moon.
Number 3 with it appeared on 3 people's lists. It had 23.01 points. Back to the Future.
Yeah. I
Still
that one
missed that one.
Yeah, I did too, and that one wasn't on my list. And
wasn't
I
on
thought
my
about it
list
later,
either?
and it's like,
It
yes,
should have been.
that's science fiction and everything, but I don't know. I
1.21
It's
gigawatts.
one of
If
my
it makes you
favorite
feel any better,
movies.
like Murph is almost in the same position you are because,
We just keep missing this thing.
well, Murph had some really obscure shit.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, keeping it under 10. I mean, I had to stop making my list, or it would have been 25 long.
Yeah.
I just sat and wrote everything down, and then I started ordering it.
I
and
basically
then I
ran
started-
out of writing
Well,
area.
and then I
don't
forgot.
know.
I forgot about franchises like
Unopened Bill.
Back to the Future, you know. And then I thought, well, shit. If I try and shuffle that in, I'm going to have to redo everything.
Yep. I will tell you something that would have made the list from your list if you'd changed the way that you'd done it, and I'll tell you why I did it the way that I did it. But
So he screwed me.
Pretty much.
no,
I think that's what
but
he's saying. That's what he's
But I
saying.
screwed me too, so I'll explain that one here in a minute. Anybody else have anything to say about Back to the Future? I mean, it's a seminal classic. You can't.
I don't think there's anybody that
That's
doesn't.
another movie
Dodge
that
it.
if it's on,
Yeah, I'm
getting
watching
watched.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got Huey Lewis in the news, for God's sakes. I mean,
Right.
that right there is scores points.
yeah.
I think Josh.
DeLorean, the everything. I mean,
I think Josh nailed it on. I think Josh nailed it on the head using the word seminal, because look how much was made of it this year, being like the.
Yeah.
like
And then,
they
especially with the
predicted it in
Cubs
the
making
movie,
the
it's Cubs are going
playoffs.
to win. So it's like everybody's hyped up, and there was people actually pissed. It's like, well, we're supposed to win. The Cubs are supposed to
Yeah.
win the World Series. It's like, dude, that was
Right.
the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like with that though. I mean, honestly, man, not only is Back to the Future sci-fi classic to me, honestly, it's a feel-good movie
it is.
because the nerd gets the girl.
I've said
You
it.
know,
I've said it over
and
and
then
over
and
and over.
then and then
If
and the
that-
nerd ends up to the bully. I mean, there's so many other morals you can take from that movie, and just stand up for yourself, or don't be afraid to be different, or anything like
Don't be
that.
yellow.
And plus the scene where Marty Marty has to go and give his dad confidence and get dressed up in a radioactive suit, plays Van Halen, and he's fucking Darth Vader, and he throws up the Spock Stein. Like there's so much in that one scene. It was so great.
Yeah,
for sure. I've said it over and over and over. That is the movie that if they try to remake it, I will boycott Hollywood. I swear to God.
There's no redoing that one.
I don't think Zemeckis would ever want to be honest with you. He's never expressed interest.
I'm just saying, if they ever try to remake that movie, I will boycott Hollywood.
Especially with someone.
Well, they actually remade the movie when they were making the movie, because I'm sure all of you guys know.
Oh yeah.
Some of our listeners might not know that they shot a good portion of that movie with the original leading man, who was Eric Stoltz.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Robert Zemeckis, the director, they weren't getting the good feel-good vibe that they wanted for the movie. They felt it was going too dramatic.
Yeah,
and they wanted to be something common.
I did not
He
know
was too serious.
Yep, he was too serious. They shot a good portion of that movie with him. So
Eric Stoltz.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who exactly? I know the name.
We'll IMDb him later. You'll recognize him as soon as you see him. He's one of those faces that the second you see him, you're like, oh, yeah.
That guy.
So, number 2, with 4 votes total and 29 points. Anybody care to guess number 2?
No.
Predator.
I'm not even going to look
I
at my
glanced.
list
You
because
saw
I'm
it?
sure it's
Yeah.
not on here.
What do you think number 2 is?
Oh, I don't know.
Battlefield.
Predator.
I mean, we're in the top. We're in the top 2. We all pretty much know what number 1 is.
I would say,
I would guess Matrix. The Matrix.
just looking off of my
Well-
list, I would guess Terminator.
What was that, Hoove?
Who said the Matrix?
Oh, Brian said, man, I didn't even think about the fucking Terminator. I should put that on my list earlier, and I didn't.
Yep.
Good job, Terry.
So,
Yeah,
man,
I
Brian.
fucked up big time with that.
Oh, we'll talk about the Terminator.
Yeah, T2
well-
is one of my.
So me, I guess, just trying to guess what you guys would say, because I didn't pick it. Man, goddamn it! Just based on the first one alone, I would think the Matrix. Hopefully, not the whole fucking trilogy. I would say the Matrix.
Not a single person in this cast
Yeah.
voted for the Matrix.
I totally forgot
Thank
about
God.
that one.
that
Not
needs to be
one
a definite
person.
honorable mention, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
not one
absolutely.
person voted for the Matrix. I think it's because the second
Thank
2
God.
movies were such
Because
garbage.
it left a bad fucking taste in your
Yeah.
mouth, man.
Ryan, what do you think is number 2?
Jason X.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought about that
I
earlier.
have no idea.
Number
I really don't.
Number,
Jason X, 'cause
number
it's his
2.
face.
Avatar?
Number 2 with 4 votes, 29 points. Aliens.
Of course.
Oh yeah, I did go for that. Sweet.
Aliens.
Yep.
Yep.
I think it is the best of the Aliens franchise. It is the one that is more action oriented and less horror oriented.
Yeah.
It introduced characters like Newt, who like died at the beginning of 3 or whatever. But it had some heart to it. It had Bill Paxton. Game over, man. We're all gonna die.
And it had Sergeant Apone,
Yep.
who was copied again and again in video games. I mean, look at Halo. Sergeant Johnson, that's a direct copy. He
Oh, yeah.
is Apone from Aliens.
Look into my eyes.
The cigar, the hat,
Yep.
the Marine mentality. Yeah, that's a classic.
Yep, I think it's a
You know what-
classic. I'm excited to see it in the top 3. I think
Yeah.
it's a good. It wasn't in my top 5, but it was in my top 10. So
I didn't even have.
You know what's funny? What's funny about that? What's funny about that is
Too dark for me. All.
Sure.
I was just like,
oh, I love that movie. What was that? Who?
Sigourney Weaver. What's funny about that to me is that Sigourney Weaver, I think it's common knowledge to everybody, was nominated for Best Actress as her role as Ripley for Aliens,
Yeah.
which is hard to do whenever you participate in a sequel.
Yep.
But
You know-
they always classified Sigourney Weaver's nomination for Aliens for Best Actress as the first time anyone had been nominated for an Academy Award from a horror movie. And I never really classified Aliens as a horror movie.
No, the first one. The
first
first
one's
one was a
short.
horror movie.
Yes.
And Sigourney Weaver was the dumb, chick in the cabin, basically, in the first one. In the second one, she started to come around. She started to become this badass. By the third one, she was a real fucking badass.
Yeah, she was.
So it's in my top 10. But yeah, 4 people voted for it. 4 people had votes on there.
Nice.
29 points total.
Solid.
Yeah, I'm kind of with it. I'm glad that one made it into the list.
And now that I'm saying that, I classify it as a sci-fi movie, there were parts of that movie that made me jump out of my flipping seat.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I
it's
think-
still suspenseful.
Yeah, I think
mean,
science fiction can still do that, but it wasn't horror focused. I didn't feel.
No. I don't. Do we even need to say what number one is?
Well, of course we have to say it.
Okay.
I think we all know that number one. Oh, something we should point out is that we were allowed to vote for series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So number one is the Star Trek, or Star Wars.
You
Oh,
fucking
You better get that shit right.
Dude,
man.
Star Wars,
Can't
Star
believe that
Star
was-
Wars, the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it didn't make my list because, of course, it would be on the fucking list, and it was too obvious and too, just of course that I left it off.
Yeah.
And I wanted to focus on other. I mean, because everybody's intensely aware of Star Wars right now. For fuck's sake, we're a month away.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I wanted to focus on other stuff because Star Wars
To me,
is such
it's
a
like-
huge part of everyone's life.
it'd be like, discussing who's the greatest basketball player and
Not throw.
not
Yeah,
throwing
let's take
out
Jordan
there. Yeah,
and-
let's
yeah.
remove him from the equation and
Yeah.
talk about. But it's like, no, you're gonna pay respects to that because
you have
there's
to say it.
so many doors that movie busted through in special effects and storytelling and just fuck. I mean, that movie changed a lot of lives. I mean, that didn't have nothing to do with
And
the movie.
the thing I think that requires it to be so remembered and everything is it was an independent film.
Right.
It was a big risk, a
Right.
very big risk.
That was all him.
So, just real quick.
Real quick, I want to add to that. Like Ryan said, like John said, there's so many, different aspects of looking at that movie. To me, of course, I got throwing wrestling here or whatever, but to me, the producers of that movie was like Vince McMahon Sr. taking a chance on Hulk Hogan.
What?
And then it goes gangbusters, and all of a sudden,
Man taking a chance on Hogan?
yeah, well, because,
He's relating it to wrestling.
he was a local, he was like
I hear you.
territory guy.
I'm
But what I'm
yeah.
saying is, it's like,
Was not on the same.
for it to go gangbusters the way it did, like, because, even the people that were making the movie at the time were like, some of the actors even like,
Yeah.
they didn't see what they're acting against.
Right.
Okay, so I'm supposed to look here and this thing's coming at me, or I'm supposed to, if you watch the documentary, they're like, I had no idea what I was shooting.
Mm-hmm. Harrison
I didn't know
Ford
if you
was
went on
in a
it.
tank.
Right.
Wow.
And it's for it to become, it's Star Wars has to be number one, because also think about it like this too. There's so many, like Brian's a race car driver. He has his interests in his life that take him away from whatever. My brother is a mechanic. He has his interests. My friends, they do their things. And I'll start geeking out talking about certain things, like maybe even just Transformers or video games or whatever. And, not saying Brian, but like my brother and other people I know that kind of drift off or what have you. But I say Star Wars, bam, I have everybody's attention. Everybody loves Star Wars.
It transcends geek culture.
Yeah, you can glean different parts of that movie and appeal to so many genres of people that it's hard not to like it.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
You have to almost be like anti Star Wars.
Yeah. And
to
you know
not-
how anything popular has
I'm
a
a
group
movie
of people
hipster.
who
I only
say,
like movies I haven't seen
everything
before.
popular will have a group of people that say, I don't understand why it's so popular. That group is so small with Star Wars.
So a couple of things. I don't know if we said it, but we specifically excluded high fantasy from this list. So no Lord of the Rings, no.
Well, that's not science fiction,
Science.
can it?
It's science.
It is classified as science fiction.
Yeah.
That's
So,
fantasy to
but
me.
we specifically excluded high fantasy, and Murph
Oh,
wanted
see,
to.
I wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah,
I
Murph
want to
wanted.
do a separate list for high fantasy.
Yeah, I do
mean,
too. Murph wanted to throw some high fantasy in there, and like, nope.
If
we're
it
not
didn't
doing high
have
fantasy.
robots, space, or aliens or something, it's
Yeah.
Just real quick, did Star Wars you put on your
was
list?
the only one, and I had it as number
So-
one, but that was
Terminator would have made the list.
okay.
However, I am a bastard.
The end.
Your algorithm fucks me. It's
I like
basically
it.
what you're going to tell me right
Just
now.
a
The
second.
end.
Just a second. I cannot forgive the sins that were the last 3 or 4 Terminator movies.
And they're still good movies,
that's why
man.
when you asked me, you're like,
I
all of them, and I'm
noticed
like,
that
yeah,
in the
whole
chat,
thing, yeah.
and you said the Terminator franchise, and he said, including the last 3, and I was like, well, they're part of the franchise, so I think so.
Yeah, they had
So-
Terminator in the title, didn't they?
Terminator 2 was in my top 5 list.
Terminator 2
Terminator
is amazing.
is one of the greatest movies of all time.
and in my opinion, the best
And
sequel.
Josh,
Right.
Oh yeah, by far.
As far as sequels go, fuck yeah. That
Oh,
thing-
it brought shit to a new level.
It did.
right.
It really did.
But if you'd chosen Terminator 2, it would have actually been number 8.
well, see, now the Josh, now when I got out of work and I got your INs text, in my original list, my original top 10, I had, I think, the Star Wars movies in my top 10 ranked.
Yep.
And then Josh said, okay, no, we're going as a trilogy, or as the original cinema. And for the Terminator movies, I would think, based on the list, that I think you said already, Josh, that if you pick one of them, that means you're picking the series.
Not me. I was not picking the series.
See, that's how I was going. I was like, because it'd be hard. The list would grow exponentially if you started picking apart, the Star Wars one by one, Terminator one by one. Like I had Superman and Batman on my list, and I mean, I had James Bond movies on my list, and there's 23 of those.
Yeah.
So it's
And
like, what the fuck? Where do we cut it off here? It's like, let's just.
I totally get what you're saying, but I could not bring myself to bring Terminator as a franchise onto the list when the last 3 movies have been piss poor.
Have you seen Genesis?
I haven't seen
I
Genesis
haven't either.
but the reviews are terrible.
I really don't give 2 shits. I mean, about what the reviews say. Because like the reviews were shit for Rise of the Machines. I enjoyed it and have seen it several times.
I also don't see what's her name as Sarah Connor.
The
so
reviews
I just
for
Amelia Clark. Her name's Amelia Clark. Dragon.
Amelia Clark is not Sarah
what was
Connor to
the
me.
one with Christian Bale where he lost his shit on set and they recorded it?
Oh,
Salvation.
Salvation.
And I thought that was a good movie too.
3 and Salvation I thought were garbage. I
They're
just
still
I couldn't-
enjoyable movies.
I hated them so much that I couldn't I just couldn't bring myself to change my vote
For me, I
to the
looked at
Terminator
it,
series.
For me, I looked at it as instead of looking at them as individual movies, I looked at them as a whole, as concepts
Yeah.
of what is happening in this whole franchise. There's a man that is a freedom fighter trying to save the world. There's another thing a robot that has gone back in time, and they just kind of overlapped this thing. And granted, the last couple of them weren't that great, but conceptually, I think it's up there because.
And I love the Sarah Connor Chronicles TV show.
That
The
was a good
subject,
show.
the
Yes.
subject of the whole series.
Summer Glau.
Oh yeah. But
Anyway.
no,
Fine.
I'm with you. I love Terminator 2, but I think
Oh, yeah.
that my love for Terminator 2 was almost equivalent to like Star Wars, but like Terminator 3 was a fucking parody of what Terminator was. Like they made fun of
You know what?
themselves, and I couldn't.
Guys,
Ugh.
this is what I'll say about that. And I like what Brian said as far as, the idea of it and what you could do with it. But they could have done 1 and 2 and left it alone.
I agree.
Because after part 2, they start going back and messing with the timeline that we'd all known and loved. It becomes too convoluted.
I agree.
Like, okay, now what the fuck is going on? Okay, well, you did this, it should stop this, but now since this person did that, it doesn't stop this. Now this is going to happen? Like, you go fucking cross-eyed thinking about the different timelines. If you look at the plots of the movies, that the movies themselves are
but
created.
Then you get into the thing of like how Back to the Future did. I mean, they went back in part 2 and part 3 back to part 1, and it's like.
But they were a tight, cohesive story.
Yeah.
But I have a question. Everybody seems really passionate about Terminator.
Yeah.
What I propose is that we take a vote and we decide whether Terminator 2 should be on the list.
Yes,
Absolutely.
If you're just
And
looking
if so, where? And what are we knocking off?
we're knocking off that Tim Allen spoof.
I say Terminator 2 to
Good movie.
If you're going to add it, you're going to have to bump off number 10. It has to be
What's number 10?
bring the
Martian?
rank all the way down.
No, I would give up Galaxy. I would give up Galaxy Quest in favor of Terminator 2.
Oh,
There we go.
There we go.
See?
But you cannot take something out of the middle of the list. If
But he's
something-
changing his vote. That's
you
his
can't
vote.
You can't change your vote after the list is in.
Somebody likes Galaxy Quest over here.
Galaxy Quest.
I'm just saying, if you're going to add something
makes
at
me
number
feel
3,
good,
that
man.
makes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 jump down a spot.
So do we move? Or do we put Terminator on the list? Terminator 2 specifically. Do we put it on the list?
I say no. I say
my top five.
no because
Hoover's
I
saying
say
he
no
would change
because
his vote
I
for
wasn't-
Galaxy Quest 2 Terminator.
There's no changing votes.
no. I say no because Josh put the rule out because I voted for individual Star Wars movies. So if I have to vote, I'm taking
I
the
changed
Terminator
your
series.
vote. Remember, I told you pick 2 more. I consolidated.
Yeah, I
your
picked
Star
2
Wars
different ones.
movies. So
No, I say, you know what? Damn it. No, because I want to throw another movie on there that I just barely thought of. And that's a great science fiction movie, and it's near and dear to my heart. And if Terminator's going on that list, and I want to sacrifice another one for another movie that nobody said, is They Live with Roddy Piper.
nope, sorry, it's not going on the list.
What did I tell you?
Nope.
The Roddy Piper movie.
Yeah, it's not going on the list. Sorry.
You called it, dude. You called it. Nice.
Nope.
Tell Hoover, you didn't know this, but I made your list for you.
No.
Your number 1 was No Holds Barred.
But that's not science
And
fiction,
then
bro.
I couldn't remember the name of that movie, so I just had the Roddy Piper movie.
Okay,
Yeah, we
break
had
it
your
down,
back,
though. Dude, science fiction-wise, They
there's
Live is a
science
good
to
science
wrestling.
fiction
And
movie.
it's
So
fiction.
okay, I'm just saying the list stands.
Yeah.
The list
fair
stands.
enough.
I say the list stands.
Terminator 2.
Yeah, the
I still
list
feel should have
stands,
made
but-
it, but the list stands.
Are we going to
Then
talk
you
about
should have
our
accepted
top
it as a
ones that
series.
didn't make it?
Yeah, no, I want to go around the
Dude,
table.
basically
So
me 2
Your whole
through
list.
So let's-
15.
let's go to who first. Is there anything on the that is not on the list that you put on yours that that you feel should have made it Hoove?
Yeah, honestly, first I'm going to start with the one that I was kind of surprised, that I didn't put on the earlier and it's a newer one. I thought Guardians of the Galaxy was a really great science fiction movie. And I know it ties in with the Marvel Universe and everything, but it had a real good Star Wars feel to it and different alien races and all that kind of cool stuff. So, plus it had a lot of heart. I really enjoyed that movie. So Guardians of the Galaxy was one. And then one that I'm surprised nobody else voted for, man, probably my second favorite movie of all time is Predator.
It was on.
shit.
It was on my. I was number 15 for
I
me.
completely forgot about
So,
Predator,
Number 15
man.
for me. Who?
Guardians of the Galaxy was number 46.
Oh, you went deep on that list.
Wow.
didn't you?
Oh yeah, no, I took all the
All of
original
them.
titles. Predator. Where was Predator?
I completely.
Predator was number 13.
Oh, damn.
Predator,
Almost
man.
made it.
Close.
Almost made the list.
God, get
Quote.
to the goddamn chopper, man. Can't believe I forgot.
Right?
What else? What else you got, Hoove? Let's get through those real quick.
Yes, I voted individually for certain Star Wars movies. The Episode 1, Episode 2 did not make my list. I always like I told Cassandra in the past, she's not up on the Star Wars, history and everything. She goes, well, do I need to watch them all? I said, nope, just start with Episode 3. Episode 3 on, we'll tell you everything leading up to where we're going. But
I think Episode 3 was epic.
So the
because
three that I would say would be Guardians of the Galaxy,
He's created. You know.
They Live, and Predator.
They live. Yeah.
I've got my problems with Revenge of the Sith. Namely, his just completely 180ing and then killing Jedi children just sort of pissed me off.
Yeah, I mean that's
And
fast.
I didn't feel
You
like
go from being basically a righteous guy to murdering puppies,
children.
essentially.
Yeah, and I didn't. That's why
I'm pretty okay.
That's why I
Let me
hate
choke
that
the
movie.
life out of this kitten now.
Yeah, I like that movie sort of. It's just that one scene. Like,
yeah,
like
I agree with you. That bothered
bothers me here.
Yeah. Well, they if they had had more time to flesh that out, I'm sure they would have, but they didn't.
I think what they were going for is that, when your pendulum swings, and he was so good on one side, and it's like they said in Episode 1, the Force is strong in this one. He was so awesome.
His midichlorians
That
were
when
off the
that
charts.
when he went to the other side, he swung way the fuck over
I
there.
don't know if he was
and
that
became Mr.
golden to begin with. I mean, remember what he did to the Raider camp, the Sand
Well,
People?
That was the beginning, right?
I'm thinking, like, how they portrayed him as like the chosen one. You know what I mean?
yeah, but not necessarily because
But-
of his righteousness.
Yeah, like
just because
Tusken
of his
Raiders were
connection
kind
to
of
the
portrayed
Force.
as evil already.
They were.
So it was kind of like,
But the
and
women
they'd
and the
taken his mother
children.
like.
You know, man,
slave.
if you go back and look at it, man, it was kind of like, you know, when Qui-Gon saw all the power in him and everything. You saw how Yoda and Mace Windu were kind of like, you know, well, I don't know about this.
Yeah, they were
But
unsure.
Qui-Gon knew somewhere in there, this is what's going to bring balance to the Force. And it kind of sets up to that.
Here, Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later.
Terry,
Well,
is there anything else that you
Qui-Gon-
feel really passionate about?
Basically, like, no. I mean, for me personally, I'm glad Predator was 13. I'm surprised it didn't make the top 5, to tell you the truth. I love that. But I think the other movies in the series, except for Predators, I thought was really good. But Predator is...
That was good, too.
but, I mean, I could get rid of Alien versus Predator. Although I do like Predator 2. I enjoyed that.
Me too.
I
Danny
want to know.
Glover.
I want to know more about the Predators, where they're from, why they're that
And
way.
being on their planet was pretty fucking cool.
Right.
But is
then-
there another movie or franchise that you feel super passionate about?
Super passionate. No, I'm sticking with They Live, Guardians of the Galaxy, which I can't wait for Volume 2 is what they're calling sequel, and Predator, man. I'm cool with that.
Mi Hermana Rojo.
Yes.
Stuff that you're really passionate about that you feel should have made the list.
I really enjoyed District 9, and it was fairly high up on my list.
Number 21 on the overall
I
list.
really like Neil
Really?
Blomkamp's
It didn't make my
style.
list, but I loved it.
That and
We're a small minority, I
Elysium,
think.
you know,
Yeah.
had really the same feel because they, you know,
I
they
haven't
were
seen
from the same
Elysium. I
guy.
want to see it.
And I love how gritty.
I think it's a little bit
He
more
makes his
political
shit.
than
I
it
think
know?
that was
Yeah.
the
You might go
thing
in
that
expecting.
put me off a little bit was the grittiness.
I love what it does to
grossness
the
of it,
tech.
where the humans are basically becoming these bugs.
Well,
It's a
one
neat
guy was
movie, though.
because he had been infected with some shit.
Did you see it, Brian?
Yeah,
But I think it's a neat
But the
movie.
high tech of his movies mixed with that dirty grittiness,
Yeah.
to me, makes it more believable.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and then
The slums and all of that
My
stuff?
number one, I know a lot of people were going to disagree, and a lot of people didn't even have it on their list. I'm sure, is the original RoboCop.
Oh,
Number 11.
great pick.
Oh, sweet! That's higher than I would have thought.
Well, it's number 11 because it comes first in alphabetical order.
Oh, okay.
it's
Alrighty.
tied for number
Well-
11 or what?
Well, so I guess you could call it
Okay,
tied. but-
well, and I absolutely loved that movie as a kid. I had a freaking lunch pail that was RoboCop, and had the thermos inside with Ed 209 on it, and I had RoboCop.
Show your
fucking
hall pass.
shoes.
yeah, there are no.
Hall pass not
And
accepted.
I can, and any damn day, I can sit down and watch that movie beginning to end and be entertained the whole time.
Yeah, there are no 1 votes until number 11.
Oh, okay.
So,
John,
Yeah.
John, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What?
You remember when RoboCop?
so the top 10.
Do you remember when RoboCop?
Voted for him.
What was that? Who?
John,
Uh-huh.
do you remember when RoboCop rescued Sting from the Four Horsemen at a pay-per-view?
Oh, my God. Yes, I do. I'd forgotten about
Yeah, that was pretty horrible.
Wow.
What I liked about it as a kid, of course, was a robot goddamn policeman, you know. But as I watched it more and more as I was growing up, was a guy. It wasn't just about a badass, you know, dude that's still a cop and now he's a cool android or whatever. But it was a guy trying to remember and regain what humanity he has left.
Right.
And the way, and Paul Verhoeven has a history of taking things to fucking 11. The way it was taken away from him today is still one of the most brutal,
Oh, that bloody.
glorious,
that's a
hard
bad
to
scene.
watch scenes in movies.
That's a horrible scene.
And there are a lot of Christ-like influences in that movies. I mean, especially the way he was standing there as he's being shot and everything, and then the resurrection. And I always really enjoyed that because I like to think, what if I was in this situation? And
But
you
your
know,
stuff
what does
don't
he
work.
what does he see about the old parts of his life and everything? And does he miss his wife and child, or does it make him angry because it's not who he is anymore?
I miss the baby food from the new one.
when little
there
kids-
was no baby food. In
Yeah.
there.
When little kids tell you to go fuck a refrigerator.
Yeah.
All right.
And RoboCop 2 and 3.
Is there
but
anything else you're super passionate about?
super passionate about other than Suburban Commando?
That was
Yeah,
the list.
yeah.
Stop! We're not going off on wrestling tangents.
Okay,
We're going
okay.
over movies.
Anything else super passionate about? See, and I was torn on this one, but Event Horizon, I know is a horror movie.
Didn't even make your list.
I know. Everything else must have been on there then.
Yeah, I came pretty close, but okay. So nothing else you're super passionate about, Brian. I know that almost nothing from your list made it. So let's talk about.
I'm like 2 through 15. I mean,
Shit.
my number 2 that didn't even make the list. I mean, I don't know where it ranks on the thing. Is I was the James Bond catalog, and as my
I don't
wife
care.
and
I don't care if it's 25 deep.
15.
I'm not voting for
my
it.
wife and I, we were having lunch, and
Single vote.
she's like, that's not sci-fi, and I'm like, it's science,
Yeah, it's completely.
and it's fiction,
Yeah, it
and
fits
so
completely.
It
for
does
me,
fit.
it's like.
I wouldn't have classified it as science
I mean,
fiction.
it's
so when you
James
put it on
Bond.
there, I was like,
Conventionally, no.
I was like, ooh, I don't know anybody else is going to vote
It's
for that.
the 007.
The 007 is the
Come
shit.
on, man.
Son of a bitch.
The 007
007.
Golden
GoldenEye?
You brought that shit back. Everything comes
That
full
one is
circle.
not going away anytime
Oh,
soon.
yeah.
No.
My number
00 full 7.
right. My number 3, Da Vinci Code. I liked the fact that he used realistic, very little special effects, but he used a lot of everyday, real items in that movie and told this fucking ridiculous story. And it's like, wow, that could fucking happen. You know what I mean? Like
number 17 or no, yeah, number 17. Also something I wouldn't have classified as science fiction, but that's just me.
Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, it's just straight up.
To me, I mean, I guess I was breaking it down to too much to is it science and is it fiction? And so, you know, there's a lot of scientific shit in the Da Vinci Code.
It's cool. I can respect it. I like that. I like Dan Brown. I like his books too. So
What was my number 4?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom
didn't see
Cruise
it.
movie.
I want to see it, but I haven't seen it.
I
I
was-
haven't seen it either,
I
man.
fucking loved that movie.
Let me
wanna
tell you,
see it, though.
I almost refused to watch it because I can't stand Tom Cruise.
Oh man, you got to give it a chance.
But no,
you got to
I-
give it a chance because
I'm totally with John on that. I
he's
don't
not
want to
really
watch
Tom
Tom
Cruise
Cruise
in that
and
movie.
shit.
The beauty of it is it's humans fighting aliens.
Is that the
but
one where they respawn and shit?
Yeah.
Twist is that the aliens
You get a little
can
bit
go
further
back
each
in
day.
time and relive the same day. And when Tom Cruise accidentally kills this certain alien, basically the blood or whatever of this alien spills on him, and now suddenly he's able to relive. He can die infinite amount of times as long as he's not revived naturally and brought back to life. So if he just gets killed, he wakes up again and wakes up again, and
with the same knowledge.
and he
the
basically
following day.
lives.
I watched most of it and had to go once.
I think they should have had Bill Murray in that leading
By the-
role.
right?
Yeah.
by the end
Ryan
of the
just
movie-
still looking at me. I was like, I've seen Groundhog Day.
By the end of the movie, you realize. I mean, if you think about it, you're realizing that he's lived this day probably 10,000 times to get
Right.
to this point. It's like
He
figuring
like
out a
learned
maze.
fighting concepts.
Yeah, it's like figuring out a maze. Okay, you keep going back and start over.
Trial
Miss.
and error.
It's trial and error. It's the ultimate trial and error.
I got to
And-
tell you, I'm shocked nobody picked that, and I'm shocked nobody else picked Inception.
Oh yeah, that's still
Yeah.
really
Oh
good,
yeah,
too.
yeah.
It's kind of the same.
Inception's
It's kind
good.
of
You know, that's another movie my brother got for me for Christmas one year
really.
on Blu-ray. I got my first Blu-ray player. I looked at it. I go, "Oh, Inception." He goes, "Yeah, dude, you're smart. You'll figure it out."
You're a nerd.
That seems like a running theme, man.
Yeah, and I watched it.
You're such a smart boy.
And I watched it. I had to watch that fucking thing like 10 times over, dude. I still don't get that fucking movie.
What was your number 5?
Number 5 was Mission to Mars. I know it wasn't
never God,
that
super
movie was-
popular.
I hated that movie.
I've
never seen
what
it.
I loved
Horrible.
what I loved about it was it
God, it was bad.
it gave us an explanation of the higher power that's pulling our strings. Is basically what it did to me. Because I mean, he
I don't even know
on
who did it.
when the black guy.
That narrowed it down.
Samuel Jackson.
He when he was stranded on Mars and he basically figured out that this thing that they were looking at was a tomb, and he figured out that it was a code, and he replicated the code and shot it back to him, which was the human DNA thing. You know, they
That sounds like Prometheus.
and it was similar, kind of similar.
Y'all should.
But
Christopher Pike wrote a book about Mars that was his first adult novel. That I feel like Hollywood has stolen a whole lot of concepts and ideas he had about
Probably.
going to Mars in that book.
probably.
But very similar. Very
I just
similar.
I like I was blown away. I mean, leading up to that point, it could have been any other fucking space movie. But from the moment they walked into that tomb on Mars and were shown basically the blueprint of how the Earth was created, and I mean it had this awesome. I mean, it would be so awesome to have something like that. The 3D, solar system that they were standing in, and it was like going around them, and then like you see this meteor hit Earth, and then of course all the fucking things die and whatnot. That that showed the death of Mars, and then it showed the birth of life on Earth and everything, and it basically.
Don Cheadle.
Yeah, there you go.
There you
Don
go.
Cheadle.
Totally didn't.
Hey, Ryan,
War Machine on
Ryan.
Iron Man.
I get what you're saying, but the rest of that movie, whew,
I've never
I-
seen it.
man,
I
I-
kind of want to see
that's
it now.
rough.
It was
I'm
it was an awesome explanation to, why are we here?
you
and
have
are
to
there
admit
other
the rest of
people
the
out
movie was pretty goddamn rough.
there. The what?
Rest of that movie,
I'm
was,
glad Ryan said Don.
it was rough.
It was iffy.
I'm glad Ryan said Don Cheadle, because when Brian said black guy in Mars, I was thinking Ice Cube on Ghost of Mars.
See, I was thinking about Ghosts of Mars too, man.
All right, so
That movie.
Helen, stuff you're really passionate about that you're disappointed didn't make it on the list.
Okay, so a couple of mine actually made the list. Back to the Futures, any of them we can watch anytime it's on TV, whatever, we watch them. Total Recall, we watch anytime it's on TV. Ryan mentioned District 9. I really liked Avatar.
Yeah,
It was cartoonish to me.
It was on my list.
it was still pretty good.
It wasn't even on my list. It was like a brief thought. And I was like, ugh.
I mean, as far as special effects go, I mean, it trend-setting, blow basically everything up to that point out of the water, but it was cartoonish to me.
Perfect,
Yeah, I
perfect
thought-
example of what you referred to earlier. If this list would have been put together the summer that came out, it would be on my list.
It
But
still wouldn't have been on my list.
I haven't felt the need to watch it since.
Yeah.
So it completely is
Yeah, I've
off my
seen it
list.
twice,
But it was
and I'm pretty
I
satisfied
really
with
enjoyed
those
it.
2 times.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of like that flash in the pan, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like
It was a
didn't
good
affect me
experience,
Like Star
yeah.
Wars or
Well,
Terminator 2.
I like at the end where
I don't
it
regret
completely
watching.
abandons
Oh, no,
his
no, I don't regret
humanity.
watching it either.
Yeah, it's like, fuck this, I'm turning into
Yeah.
a blue guy.
I'm gonna be a blue guy.
Yeah, no,
They're
it-
awesome and
It was
tall.
a great popcorn.
Humans
film.
are stupid.
But then my favorite out of all of them,
Uh-huh.
What was your
which
number
is silly compared to a lot of your guys' movies.
Oh yes.
Feed me Seymour. Feed me
Oh, Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah.
I explained in the
I
chat.
know that song word for word.
I explained in the chat why I just can't get behind that movie.
Oh, I love
Some
it.
personal feelings are involved in that movie with certain people that I just can't.
Okay.
I can't like get over the hump. But I know what you're saying because like when I was a kid, I really loved that movie until this certain person ruined it for me. So
There was a summer. I can't even remember what summer it was, but I watched that movie every single day.
yeah, I probably had that
Isn't
summer
that
too.
the one where the blonde lady from SNL sings that song "Somewhere That's Green" because
Yes.
she's dreaming about her life with
Yep.
Stanley or whatever.
Yep.
Rick
Yeah.
Moranis. And
Rick Moranis kills a lot of movies.
feed me,
for me.
Seymour. Feed
Yeah.
me.
That kills
And there
me.
was cool songs in it too. You know.
I think it's a great musical. I mean, if I
As
put
the two ladies from Martin.
yeah, I mean, if I were to like assemble like a list of musicals, it'd probably be in the top 20
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a solid choice. It leans more toward the horror genre, I think, but no, it's a good one. What else you got?
That was basically my list.
Is
Yeah.
that basically it? No, I like that. I like that one. I just, can't get over that hump.
I'm curious about John's.
Yeah, what do we got? Some
All right.
awesome.
Damn it, I forgot his name now.
Joe Pesci.
Magnum PI.
Oh, God.
Tom Selleck.
Burt
Yeah.
Reynolds?
Tom-
Tom Selleck.
What
That's-
the
I get those two mixed up
It's
all
similar.
the time, dude.
Okay.
Mustache white guys all look
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
to me.
Well, I picture that porn stash, and it's either Burt Reynolds or Tom Selleck.
Back when I was a kid in the 80s or whatever,
Whatever.
I had a tape that had 3 movies on it. This was one of them. I watched that tape, at least one movie off of that tape, pretty much at least once a week. Probably a lot more, but I'm just going to say at least once a week. Tom Selleck and Gene Simmons from Kiss was in a movie called Runaway.
I've never heard of it.
It's
Never heard of it.
a great movie. At least I haven't watched it in the last 10, 15 years, so I don't know how it holds up to time. But Gene Simmons was the bad guy. He had this gun that had these bullets that literally had people's names written on them. And they could be shot around corners and everything. And he had these little robotic spiders that he would send out. And they had these little noodles that shot out acid and everything. It was just really cool and completely sci-fi. But yeah, that was one of my top 3 movies easily when I was growing up. So yeah, if you get the
Kinda
chance,
curious now.
definitely check that out. It's a really good movie. And then I would say next on my list was The Running Man.
Yeah, I thought about Running Man.
Refresh my memory.
Arnold
Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger.
He was in a
Stephen
game
King
show.
story, Fight
You know,
for your life kind of thing.
And you had to fight different types of dudes.
Bosses.
There
Each
was the
stage
guy with
a
all
guy.
the Christmas lights on him and a
Uh-huh.
chainsaw and stuff.
I
That
might
was
have
actually
seen that
based off
movie.
of that was based off of a Stephen King short story when he was writing his Richard.
Yep, exactly. I mean, it was way, way drawn from. It wasn't even really
Yeah.
close to the book,
Yeah, it
but
was not horror anymore.
So, Murph's honorable mentions, I'll just read them for him real quick. Most of his stuff made the list, but The Road Warrior, obviously.
nice.
Okay.
Great pick.
And then the Babylon 5 in the beginning TV movie.
Okay. I've never seen it.
He's old.
Yeah, I mean, Babylon 5 was kind of this B TV series that I never really...
Maybe
he's not,
even
he's,
see.
he's not saying the whole Mad Max.
No, he says
Just
the Road
Road
Just
Warrior.
the Road Warrior.
Yeah.
Now, on his top 10, he's got Fury Road on there, but yeah, he's not saying the whole Mad Max. For me personally, I think my number 1 movie on my list was Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of Khan was one
Okay.
I mentioned too. Yeah.
It was absolutely my top 5.
I'm surprised Dune didn't make it on anybody's list.
Oh yeah, dude.
Dune. Okay.
That's more of a
I-
book thing.
Yeah,
than-
it's on my top 5 science fiction books.
Okay.
Not the movie is god awful.
Really?
The
Never
TV
even
series, the miniseries that Sci-Fi did, not terrible. I mean that weird like stage backdrop that they used for most of the movie for the Dunes was a little weird, but it was a lot closer to the books. But yeah, I couldn't. The original Dune was so far removed from what was in the books that I just couldn't. You can't even watch that movie and say what it's about, really. Like, okay, yeah, the spice must flow. The Baron's a bad guy. But nobody really knows, like, the Fremen or Muad'Dib or, any of that. Nobody really understands the, like, basics of that, which was explained in the book. But anyway, so The Wrath of Khan, definitely up there.
I will completely give you that because my dad was, like you said earlier, a Trekker.
Yeah.
He said that every time somebody said Trekkie.
Yep.
He was a big fan, and I didn't like Star Trek probably because of that. But Wrath of Khan I liked.
But that's what I mean by, like, when I said Star Trek as a series doesn't hold up in a top 10. Individual movies do. So I wouldn't put any one of those other movies in my top 10, but The Wrath of Khan is my number 1 of all time.
I remember when I was a little kid, the first time I saw that, there's a part that creeped me the fuck out. Is when
The
Khan gets Chekhov and Paul Winfield, and they put the fucking earworms in their goddamn ears. Just get the fuck out.
In my top 15, Star Trek 2009 would have
Yeah.
been in there. I think that was a great example of what a
One of the
reboot
greatest
can do.
openings ever.
Oh yeah, one of the greatest opening scenes of all time. I think that we would be remiss, and I know that nobody else but me voted for this movie. But
He knows that because he did the list.
but it's another James Cameron movie. I think it's a shame nobody else talked about it.
Abyss.
The Abyss.
Never watched it.
I like it. It's
God,
a
The
good,
Abyss
solid
was
movie.
such a good movie,
Dude, and the one of the things I was fascinated about as a kid was the fluid that they were able
Yeah.
to breathe in. And I thought,
The
was that
oxygen
like
fluid.
embryonic fluid? And that's what I'm thinking as a kid. Is like, well, maybe that's like what's in the womb and how a baby breathes. And then the whole underground city thing and shit. That was a really
so
good
good.
movie. I feel bad that I left it off, actually.
That movie is one that doesn't hold up just as a science fiction movie. It is
Yeah.
just an entertaining.
Yeah, it's still really just, kind of like awe,
It's one of those movies that just strikes awe.
They did the ending
in you.
really well, I think, with
I
that
think so.
crazy glowing aquatic city that looks alien,
But basically, at the end of the day, it's like, hey, we haven't explored like what's actually underneath Earth. Maybe there's
Yeah.
aliens down there too.
And they used James Cameron was using that liquid, CG type thing, just like he did for the T-1000.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and you could kind of tell.
And the underwater scenes were shot with smoke.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah,
Smoke was used.
I remember I've seen
Yeah.
a documentary or something with that in it.
But
I'm sorry.
no, go for it.
I'm surprised, especially with John, that there's not more zombie stuff in there, man.
I was
I
going
got one
to,
on mine.
but and I know there's a science behind it.
Well, yeah, there's usually scientists
Yeah. Yeah, I
behind
don't
the
consider
outbreak.
science fiction
I
either.
I consider that just straight horror.
Okay, but I was wondering why you didn't have any zombie stuff.
World War Z.
World War Z.
That's
I
number
dig that
13.
movie.
Yeah, I tried to limit my science fiction to stuff that
That's spacey.
was not necessarily spacey, but
See,
had
and that's
science
why-
in it that we hadn't reached yet.
That's
Okay.
why in our thing, I was like,
High
I would have.
technology.
I mean, I was kind of freaking out on this list, and I was like, please agree with us making like a space list,
Yeah.
zombie list.
We will.
we will.
We
Yeah,
will.
We'll break it
okay,
down.
okay,
I think
we
we
will.
should do a zombie.
Yeah,
list.
no, we did
I
like
mean,
a top. We did a top 5 console games, and you should have
It was
seen how
brutal.
stressed people were.
Oh
about it.
yeah, because I mean,
Because they're-
it's so hard to fucking whittle
Yeah, it
this
is.
shit.
It feels
down.
like you're leaving your children behind. When you,
Yeah,
when you-
exactly.
I'm
like, but I love
Put
you
yourself in
too.
my shoes. I'm here getting angry.
Yeah.
But fucking one of my movies didn't even make the top
Yeah,
10, and I'm like,
it feels like
what
Sophie's
the fuck is wrong
fucking
with
choice.
you guys? You know, like,
Terminator,
Right.
so close.
And you get to a point where it feels like Sophie's choice, man,
Right,
and you're
yeah.
like,
I mean, I
don't
felt
wanna
bad.
have to pick one of you,
I
but-
felt bad bumping them. I mean, it took all my willpower to mark out The Martian, because I mean,
yeah.
I love that movie, but I'm like, sorry,
It's too
top
new,
15.
man.
Yeah, I mean, out of the top 5, Star Wars was on my list. Aliens was on my list, but I don't think it was in my top 5. But yeah, 3 other movies were not in my top 5 list for sure.
Right.
Well, I've got one that was in my top 10 that I didn't put that I didn't fight for because I guess I went kind of spacey with it, but Ghostbusters.
Oh.
Oh, Ghostbusters
God,
was
that's science fiction as hell.
Where was Ghostbusters? I thought I saw it on here. Yeah, I guess I kind of consider that science fiction. I saw
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, number
Definitely.
43. Because you were the only person that voted for it, and you kept it pretty far down on your list.
Another, since you called me out about zombies, a movie I kept off my list just because of the movie versus the book. It.
Yeah,
He was an alien. But the
Yeah.
movie didn't really portray
They
that.
did.
He was a
no,
monster.
He was just a monster.
In the book, he was an alien.
So,
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
so I think we should wrap it up here. If anybody has any final thoughts, spew them now.
No, I can't wait to do one for zombies. That's all I'll say.
I'm
man,
actually
that's gonna be hard.
shocked.
That's gonna be.
I'm
nuts.
actually shocked that Superman and Batman didn't make more people's
Or
lists.
Spider-Man.
You know,
Yeah, any of the
Any
superhero
superheroes.
movies.
Iron
Maybe
Man.
we should
and I
have a
wasn't even
superhero.
thinking superhero stuff.
I cannot think of a Superman movie that would have made my list at all.
I liked Man
I
of
see.
Steel.
That's the thing.
I like
I'm
Man
not,
of Steel.
I'm not. I guess I was looking at it differently. I wasn't looking at it individual movies, but like the concept of Superman. Like that's a fun. I mean,
That's pretty sci-fi, man.
I had
The
a,
second of the Nolan trilogy, Dark Knight, would have made my list if I'd thought about superhero movies.
I love that.
I kind of think that
Solid for me.
right.
Yeah,
I think that,
Yes.
the second one's.
I think if everybody's cool with it, our next list should be superhero movies because when I think of sci-fi, and I kind of threw a superhero movie in there, Guardians of the Galaxy, just because it's Marvel. But I mean, if I don't, just like when Josh was talking about, we had to pick our top 5 console games. It was so hard. There were some of my favorites I left off that list because of certain ways I view certain games. It's the same thing with like what Brian's saying. yes, Superman is sci-fi. He's from another fucking planet. But I also think Iron Man is sci-fi.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Definitely sci-fi.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
Iron Man,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Crazy fucking high-tech
Yeah,
super suit.
Iron Man's a good one too. I would have
Right.
got on my list if I thought about
But I
it.
mean, to me, when I think sci-fi, I'm, take me out of this world.
I kind of knew that going in that this was going to be heavily spacey oriented.
Yeah,
You know?
like I said, I was just trying to take stuff that wasn't space oriented but was future science. So.
Right.
Yeah, we all picked in,
I mean,
in back
okay,
in the
so Star Wars space, Alien space, Back to the Future, not space.
no.
iRobot, not really space. Starship Troopers, space.
Space.
Very
Fifth
space.
Element,
Very
space.
space.
Blade Runner, not space.
No.
Galaxy Quest,
Space.
technically space. Total Recall, technically space. The Martian space.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was a good balance.
Right.
8 out of 10 were space.
Well, three.
Was Blade Runner?
That's not a balance. There's no balance in that force.
Right.
But okay, well, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
I
I
think we
could still go on.
I think we've got a solid.
Man.
I think we've got a solid list.
yeah, we've only gotten to my top 10. I still
Yeah.
got 5
It's
more
a
that
good
didn't even get
list.
mentioned.
We've got a solid list, and seriously, we could debate this for like 3 hours.
Yeah,
You should post the top 50 or whatever that we have on the whole thing, or top, what is it, 45? Or
How many are on here? There are 55.
55.
you post that somewhere and see.
I'll post it on our aimless
Because I mean,
discussion.
it would honestly, I'd like to see it because it would probably give me a good idea. Because I'm a big movie guy. I mean, I would like to see, ideas of movies that like you guys think are awesome. That I've, like I said, the one
Haven't seen.
that you. What was the one?
Runaway.
Yeah, like that.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious now.
I'll post it on our Aimless Adventure Facebook group, which you can see at Aimless Adventure at facebook.com/group/Aimless Adventure. I can't post on Twitter; it's too many words.
Yeah.
Fucking
On
I
a
hate
technicality.
I hate Twitter.
Yeah.
I try to keep up with it, but goddamn, I hate it. But anyway, that's the end of our guild meeting today. It went a little long, but I think at the end of the day, we got a good science fiction list. I'm happy that even though I didn't vote for it, Blade Runner made the list. There's some stuff on there that I'm glad made the list. There's
Yeah.
some stuff that I'm sure all of us are butthurt made the list. But that's kind of what it's all
Yeah.
about. We
Not me.
get to sit here and argue about it and discuss it, and it's a good time. This.
Yeah.
Even if nobody watches this fucking video, in 10 years, we get to go back and
Yeah.
go on YouTube and watch this video
Yeah.
together
Yeah,
while we're
remember
drinking
this?
at a party or whatever and go, do you remember when we did this list?
Yeah.
Let's see what it was.
Yeah.
What the
We-
fuck's up
we're
with
like-
Galaxy Quest?
Why did we think that movie was cool?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's totally awesome. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, email us, aimlessadventure@gmail.com. Check us out on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook.
We are available for private shows.
Your social media of choice. Our podcast itself is available on Podbean, but
And-
this will not be on there.
And coming soon to your microwave in your kitchen.
Yeah,
Aimless
no, we're
Adventure microwavable.
we're working.
By the way, really quick. There may be a major Aimless Adventure announcement coming for the Toy Con that Tim and Donna are hosting next August that directly involves the Aimless Adventure podcast.
Right on.
That's all I'm going to say.
All right, well, we'll talk about it.
Right on, man.
Awesome.
We'll talk about it on the 14th.
Yep.
Show enough.
But anyway, check us out. We'll record a guild meeting again in 1 week. So this will probably be posted Thursday, Friday, Saturday, somewhere in that range.
Good
check
ballpark.
out. Hey, look, check out on our YouTube channel. Murph does these toy collection videos.
His vault.
Murph's Vault.
Yep.
He is really knowledgeable about toys. Make sure you watch
And
those
very
videos
passionate too.
because they're great. I feel like they're not getting enough views, and I wish people would watch
He's got a
them.
really good collection, and he takes really fucking good care of his
Yeah,
stuff.
he's well spoken.
They're
He
good
knows,
videos.
and he has knowledge about the background and all that stuff. I found the Battlestar Galactica stuff really fascinating.
Does he make a living out of that stuff?
No, he's an IKEA safety guy.
Oh,
Yeah, like the nationwide
like a
safety
big
guy. for
shot,
IKEA.
yeah.
okay.
But
Yeah, he's up there.
anyway, so that's the end of our podcast, our guild meeting. Thank you all very much for joining us, and we'll chat at you later.
Peace out.
Bye.